Good morning. Today we've got Bharath Vellampalli, consulting practice head from Tech Mahindra for ASEAN region. Tech Mahindra is an Oracle partner specializing in applications and cloud platforms in 90 countries with 300 plus cloud engagements and over 3,000 Oracle specialists. Welcome to the studio, Bharath.
Thanks a lot, Marek. How are you doing this morning?
Yeah, very good. So let's talk about the recent customer use case we were discussing earlier. Tell us who the customer is, what industry, and what kind of problems do they solve?
Surely, Marek. So thanks for giving this opportunity, Marek, to share this view in terms of what we have done for this customer. And this customer is basically a telco, one of the largest telco customer, which are into providing communication services to its large customer base. And there are millions and millions of customers here, day in and day out, uses the telco services in terms of mobile, in terms of various services what the telcos provide, which is part and parcel of a life, right? So there are many problem statements which were there in front of us to address to the customer when we started this engagement. But to be very precise in terms of what we have done to the customer analytics from the data analytics perspective, right? So what I would like to share is one specific use case regarding their challenges in the procurement in the sourcing business scenarios.
So that's exactly the type of issues we want to discuss. So obviously they have got many customers and they've got the problem statement. Now tell us about what the problem statement was, what they're trying to do, and how did you start on that project?
Surely, Marek. As part of the procurement life cycle, procurement business process, the challenges in the industry is in terms of constructing the telco towers, right? Now, for the purpose of managing their telco towers, they need to procure the various components from different types of suppliers. Okay. Now, it's not for one set of suppliers, but maybe probably some 15 to 20 set of suppliers who supply different types of goods and services for constructing these telco towers and as well as maintaining them, right? Now, one is in terms of the fulfillment of the delivery of goods on time, number one. Number two is in terms of the quality. There are some very specific grade material which has to be delivered for the construction and commissioning of this towers, right? So the specific parts and the specific types of goods which has to be delivered, which are very specialized in this business. So that's the second point. Third point is the timelines, right? Once the supplier says that they will deliver on time, whether they're really keeping up their commitments in terms of delivering on time, because it impacts the overall timelines for construction of these towers.
So that's a good use case. Obviously, you started somewhere. What was the first step, second step? How did you actually do it physically? How did you get from that high level use case into hands on the job with tools and processes and software services?
Surely, Marek. So I think there were a couple of moving parts here in terms of the data, managing the data. It's all about the data and analysis in terms of who are the suppliers who are really performing well for the last 6 months, 12 months. So that's the trend they will do, and whoever is fulfilling their requirement, the customer's requirement in terms of the quality, the service, the timelines, right? Based on that, the shortlist. So the first important thing is the supplier data. And the second is in terms of the suppliers who are providing the specific set of items or the goods which are required. And the third one is the timeline. So there are various sources, multiple sources from where the data has to be secured.
So you had multiple sources of data. Did you have to consolidate this data in some kind of central repository, data warehouse somewhere?
Absolutely, absolutely. So that's exactly the point in terms of getting the data into a data warehouse, right? There will be 4 or 5 sources from which we need to gather the data, right, based on the past performance, and identify what is the data set which is required for analyzing the performance of the suppliers, and then pull the data from various sources into the data warehouse.
So then you've got the data in the warehouse, you've got a business case. How do you quickly look at the data and get the early insights to the data?
Right. So the first step is what we have just discussed in terms of pulling the data and then consolidating the data into the data warehouse. And the second is the data analysis, right? Now, when we do the data analysis on this data set, right? The suppliers, the timelines, the performance, the quality. These are some of the dimensions which has to be taken in view, and as well as the timelines, right? Now, based on this, what we do is using the small digital platform what we have in Oracle data warehouse, which is one of the robust tool on the cloud, right? Autonomous data warehouse on this, which is very high performance, and it can take large volumes of data for managing and performing the analytics. So using the tools which are available on the Oracle reports, Oracle analytics reports, right? Oracle Analytical Cloud platform, which is running on top of the data warehouse, Oracle data warehouse, which is on the Oracle autonomous database, right? So these are some of the platforms which will help to mine the data faster and with accurate results.
Did you experience any challenges, opportunities during this project? Everything was smooth, or there was something that stood out?
Absolutely, because data, there are quite a bit of challenges. Managing the data is not so easy, and customer dynamically keep changing their requirements, right? Today they talk about, okay, now this is the set of suppliers on which they want to do the deep dive analysis, and suddenly they will say, okay, we want one more dimension, additional dimension. So when we are changing this, our dimensions and as well as analysis on the data, how quickly we can change and add additional dimensions, right? When we deep dive on a specific data set. So that is where the Oracle Analytics Cloud will help in terms of pull and plug and pull the specific parameters which can be added without any coding, right? We don't have to really code and kind of do a lot of effort in terms of building. It's more in terms of using the tools, using the settings which are available, configurations. It's all configuration driven analytics on Data Analytics Cloud.
It's good. So tell me, what was the outcomes? What were the outcomes, results? What is customer actually benefiting from right now?
Surely, Marek. So what we need to finally zoom in is what are the top 10 suppliers who are the team who can be finalized for issuing the purchase order or issuing these contracts, which has a very high significant impact. So top 10 suppliers, number one. Number two is what are their financial capability to supply this on time. Number two. Number three is whether they can deliver as per the cost. That means once commitment is given to a particular project, If down the line within 2 months, if the supplier says that a particular spare part cannot be supplied and this alternative parts, and then the cost is different, right? So these three elements are the end result of this engagement to finalize the top 10 suppliers and give the commitment to the management that yes, we can go ahead and release the tender, right? The final objective is to release the tender process to these suppliers who can be considered for the final evaluation.
So here we go, confirmation from use case through the data management, analytics to the end results for this particular customer. So that's a good story. Let's talk about another example you had mentioned earlier in a HR use case. Tell us about this customer looking at the HR related questions.
Surely, Marek. So this is a different project altogether, Marek. Now this is customer is a global multi-country customer who are mainly into real estate, infrastructure, construction business, and they are one of the leading global players in the infrastructure industry. And obviously here the point is to focus on the consolidated HR or the employee snapshot. They have close to about 20,000 plus employees working from 20 countries, different sources of HR database. Right? Specifically, for example, in China, it's a different local compliance where the data cannot be the sensitive data cannot reside outside China. So that's one example where I can just share with you that we need to pull the data, HR employee master data, and then consolidate into the data warehouse. And from there, build the different type of employee master.
So you were mentioning multiple sources. Obviously, getting data from multiple sources requires tools that can access multiple sources at the same time, and tools that can help you with quickly getting sense of this data at the early stage of the project. What did you use to do this?
So there are inbuilt adapters, inbuilt APIs which are there to pull the data from various sources. Right now, Oracle Autonomous Data Warehouse has the inbuilt adapters. It can connect to any source, whether it is a cloud to cloud, whether it is on-premise to cloud, or any other sources from where it can quickly use the APIs or web services, REST APIs, SOAP APIs, and then pull the data and then get the right data into the data warehouse.
Did you also use any features that stood out in terms of analytics on this data? So once you had the data in the warehouse from many sources being pulled in, what did you use in terms of analytics on this? What features stood out from analytics point of view?
Sure. So the Oracle Analytics Cloud has the inbuilt ETL tools in that, right? You can do the analysis using specific tools to zoom into a specific. Number one is consolidation of the employee master, right? For all the, say for example, if there are 20 countries and 20 sources, and we are consolidating all the data as one single summary viewpoint to the management. So from the overall summary point of view, it's mainly creating a BI report which will consolidate all the data for the global view of the employees.
It's good to hear. So tell me about this new project you're about to start, this new analytical project you're about to start. What industry it is, and tell us a bit of a sneak peek what that's going to be.
So this is basically an implementation of Oracle reports and as well as the BI solution for the consolidated the HR database from the global viewpoint, right? And the reports which they have, what we need to deliver for this project is one of the most critical part, right? The user wanted to build their own dimensions. A user wants to, without using any technical training or any stuff, they want to use a tool where dynamically they can create the reports. So that's where we have embarked on this project, and this is mainly in terms of building some 100 to 150 dimensions which the user wants, and as well as train the user on this tool. So training is one of the key things which help the customer, the end users, to excite on this new project.
So doing analytics project obviously is not that easy, but it's not hard if you've got the right skills and knowledge and a tool set. So tell me about how you overcome problems with, having the right tools, having the right skills on the job, having the right consultants, doing the accurate analytics from the early stage of the project. How do you scope this and prepare yourself for those projects?
Absolutely, Mike. So that learning management and the knowledge transition is one of the core challenge in any of these kind of technology-driven engagements, right? The users are always used to depend on the IT team for building any small reports or any changes to the existing reports. So now we are completely giving a different viewpoint to the users. So the first thing is, how do we onboard the users into these new technologies, right? So based on that, what we have included as part of our scope is continuous learning, continuous onboarding is the theme what we have selected as part of the training. We generally, over the last traditional 30, 40 years, we used to use the term as train the trainer, right? So it's no more train the trainer kind of a concept. It's continuous onboarding, continuous enabling the users throughout the implementation. So early, giving the access to the small environments or the demo environments to the users, and give them a specific points of training or identifying key users who can really help support their respective teams, Marek.
So Bharath, thank you very much for sharing those use cases, the knowledge about how to start those projects. We wish you all the best with your current engagements and the future ones, and we're hoping we're gonna see you on this program again. So thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Marek. Thanks for your time.